found a love that's gonna wreck me. Walls are coming down, I'm getting set free. And all these lies that I've believed come crashing down when I'm on my knees. I think I found a love that's gonna wreck me. Break me down and build me up again. Come rushing in, you are the air I'm breathing. Break me down and build me up again. You won't stop, you're not done with me yet. 'Cause you're not done with me yet. This grace is now my identity. And every hurt I give to you means less of me and more of you. I think I found a peace that's gonna fight me. Break me down and build me up again. Come rushing in, you are the air I'm breathing. Break me down and build me up again. You won't stop, you're not done with me yet. 'Cause you're not done with me
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Wallace and this is my sister.
I'm Rebecca.
We're going to do a little challenge for Alice. So we have no idea what's coming up, something to do with food. So yeah, very exciting. I love food myself, so let's see what happens.
Hi, I'm Tom, and Alice is doing a few challenges for me, and I'm trying some foods. This is number 1. Oh, is that a cherry?
Oh, I hate these.
You've got like it almost.
Oh, is it a blueberry?
Yeah.
Oh, I hate blueberries so much. Oh, this is the second one? Yeah.
Okay. Same again. Yeah.
Okay, oh, I'm excited for this one.
I don't think you should go.
No. That's an olive. Oh.
Oh, olive?
Yep.
Hold stuff.
Oh no. Oh, this better be better than the last two, I guess. So, yeah. So, oh. Blech. Blech. No, that was horrible. What is that?
I'm scared.
You have to guess it, Sarah.
That's horrible. It's like, oh, I don't even know what it is. It's like, not mayonnaise. It's like a type of mayonnaise, I feel like. No! It's like
It might help
pepper.
you.
No, I do not want any more of that. Is it like peppernaise? Is that a thing?
Like, think of an actual thing you eat.
Mayonnaise.
No.
Is it a food? Like,
I'm going to tell you.
yeah.
It's mustard.
It's the fourth one, right? Fourth one?
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Okay.
Where's my mouth? No, don't push it in my mouth like last time.
You said you stopped it.
Oh! That's not too bad.
Ready?
I've tasted it before. It's like vinegary, but not vinegary.
Just a little bit.
Oh, no, it's not one anymore. What is it called? I think Grandma has this. You know what it is? No? Your mum might have it with a roast beef.
Grandpa has
Hollandaise? Is it hollandaise sauce?
That's the salmon.
Oh, I don't
Grandpa
know.
has it with roast beef.
Oh,
Horseradish.
Yes!
Oh my goodness.
Well done.
Oh,
Okay, one
this
more.
is the last one, I think. The fifth one. So, let's go.
Okay, just look with be careful.
Good. It's not crawling out. You should have stopped something in it.
There's only a little bit because you don't eat much.
Lemon juice.
Yeah.
Better. Refreshing. Here we go, last one, Pet. Ready? It's okay.
lemon?
Yes!
You are growing up.
You did very well. That is your youth leader.
Thank you so much for getting involved in that, Tom and Sarah. Such good sports in trying all of those foods. They were really all the most bitter foods I could find in my fridge, so thank you. But I'm sure you'll get me back at some point. Right, let's head now into our final message of Lost and Found. Some of us will probably like some of the foods that have been tasted in this game just before, whilst others of us can't stand them. Here's a fun fact, it's because of your genes. Now, about 25% of people have these special taste receptors that make them extra sensitive to the taste of bitter foods. And I'm guessing that we've all made that face about food before, that bitter, gross face. But bitter has another meaning, and it has nothing to do with our taste buds. Bitter is also a feeling. And to be bitter means to be angry or hurt or resentful because you think you've been treated poorly or unfairly. You might be tempted to become bitter when someone hurts you, when someone gets something that you wanted. Maybe they're more appreciated or they're treated better than you think that they deserve. Here at church, when we talk about people being lost, we're often talking about people who don't know Jesus. But today, we're going to discover that the people Jesus called lost aren't always the people that we might expect. When I was in year 12, there was someone who I didn't like very much, and they posted some really hurtful things on their social media platforms. And they never specifically named me, but it was clear that it was about me. And I really felt like it was uncalled for, and there was no specific reason to be posting those things about me. I was really hurt, and I was really bitter about it. Because they'd said those hurtful things, I was bitter about them. And I found it really hard to be kind to them and was really just bitter and upset about them. It can be discouraging when you feel like you're doing everything right, but you're not getting the recognition that you deserve. Someone else is doing everything wrong, but they never seem to face the consequences. It doesn't seem fair, does it? When we think that we've been treated unfairly, our feelings of frustration, self-pity and anger can grow over time until one day we realise that we've gotten lost in our own bitterness. And throughout this series, we've been looking at one chapter in the Bible, just the one, and this chapter recounts a series of stories that Jesus once told about things that were lost and were now found. And each story communicates a different and important truth. These stories aren't historical stories, they're parables. They're stories that Jesus made up and told in order to teach an important truth. And Jesus told these stories to the Pharisees. These are religious leaders who had become arrogant and self-righteous and dismissive of people who they believed were sinful. And Jesus told these stories to help the Pharisees see how wrong they were about themselves, about others, and about God. First, Jesus told a story about a lost sheep to show the Pharisees that God isn't angry or judgmental when we wander away. Instead, God finds us and carries us lovingly back to safety. Next, Jesus told a story about a woman and her lost coin to show the Pharisees God doesn't give up on us when we wander away. Instead, God values us and keeps looking for us. After that, Jesus told a story about a son who selfishly left his family and squandered his money, but was welcomed home again by his father anyway. And we read most of that story last week, but we're not finished with it yet. Like we talked about last week, one of the things that we can learn from this story is that Jesus always welcomes us back. No matter how far we wander from him, Jesus always welcomes us back. And I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing the Pharisees thought that this was the end of the story. If I were them, I might be thinking, okay, Jesus, we get it. God loves everyone and is happy when all the lost sheep, lost coins and sons come home. Got it. Okay, you can stop telling stories now. But Jesus' story had a twist. You see, Jesus' goal in telling these stories wasn't only to help the Pharisees to become more compassionate about lost people. He needed them to see that they were actually the lost ones. Luke 15 verses 25 to 27 says this: "Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. And when he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house, and he asked one of the servants what was going on. 'Your brother is back,' he was told, 'and your father has killed the fattened calf. We are celebrating because of his safe return.'" What do you think the older brother did next? This guy's younger brother had finally come home. Their dad was so excited. He'd given his younger son gifts, planned a party, and then asked his other son to help get dinner ready. So what do you think the older brother did next? Let's see how the older brother responded to his younger brother's return. Luke 15 verses 28 to 32 says this. The older brother was angry and wouldn't go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, "All these years I have slaved for you and never once refused to do a single thing you told me to. And in all that time, you never gave me even one young goat for a feast with my friends. Yet when this son of yours comes back after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf." His father said to him, "Look, dear son, you have stayed by me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this happy day, for your brother was dead and has come back to life. He was lost, but now he is found." As you can see, the father's response to the younger brother deeply upset the older brother. He couldn't believe that his little brother came back and was accepted instead of punished. He was frustrated that he had done everything right, but no one ever threw a party for him. He didn't want to celebrate that his brother was back. He wanted to sulk in the unfairness of it all. The older brother was bitter. He felt like he'd earned his father's love and that his rebellious and untrustworthy little brother didn't deserve it. I felt that way before. Maybe you have too. I don't think the father in this story asked his oldest son to help with dinner because he didn't notice his bad attitude. I think he asked him because he saw how bitter his son was becoming. And by asking his son to join the party, the father confronted and exposed his son's bitterness. But it also gave him a chance to choose a different path. Remember, Jesus told these stories in order to teach something important to the Pharisees. Yes, he wanted these religious leaders to grow in compassion for those who are lost. But Jesus also wanted the Pharisees to see how lost they were. Just like the Pharisees, the older brother believed he was doing everything right. On the outside, it looked that way, but on the inside, the older brother was judgmental, bitter, angry, and selfish. And Jesus knew the Pharisees would think of the younger brother in this story as the lost son. But Jesus needed them to see both brothers were actually lost in this story. And then the story ends. Jesus never tells us if the older brother decided to join his father's party or if he stayed outside and threw himself a pity party. All we know was that he was invited. And that's the point. Jesus didn't give the Pharisees an ending because the story was an invitation. And with this series of stories, Jesus was asking the Pharisees, what will you do? Will you stay outside sulking? Or will you join the party? And just like the father in the story, Jesus exposed the Pharisees' bitterness and then gave them a chance to choose a different path. The Pharisees thought they knew exactly who was lost, but they were so busy judging other people that they missed the fact that they were lost too. The father invited his oldest son to join the party. Jesus invited the Pharisees to join his party, and Jesus invites you to the party too. So where do you see yourself in this story? No matter where you are in your journey of faith right now, we all have something important to learn from Jesus. Whether you follow Jesus or not, are you lost in bitterness or judgment towards others? And if you don't follow Jesus, do you think that you might want to be found by him? For those of us who can identify with the older brother because we have been lost in bitterness or judgment before, I want to talk to us first. Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking life is like a game. If someone else wins, we think that we've lost. But that's not how life works, and it's definitely not how God works too. When someone else gets noticed, it doesn't mean no one notices us. When someone else gets valued, it doesn't make us less valuable. When someone else gets welcomed, it doesn't make us unwelcome. When someone else gets a party thrown for them, it doesn't mean that we're not worth celebrating. Remember how we said that by inviting his son to the party, the father in this story was both exposing his bitterness and judgment and giving him a chance to make a different choice. Jesus does the same for us too. Through his parable, Jesus is saying to us, God notices you. God values you. God always welcomes you back. And you know, that person you're bitter or judgmental toward, God notices, values, and always welcomes them back too. So what will you do? Will you stay outside sulking? Or will you join the party you've been lost in bitterness or judgment recently? Jesus is inviting you to celebrate his love for the person that you struggle to celebrate. And that's how you'll get found again. Or maybe you don't identify with the older brother at all, and you're not sure you really know the God that's symbolized by the loving Father in this story. Maybe you yourself need to be found by Jesus for the very first time. And if you've been spiritually lost, Jesus is inviting you to begin a new journey of faith. He's asking you to let him find you. Let me pray. Father, thank you so much for the lessons that you've taught us all those years ago, that we can read about who you are and how much we matter to you. Help us to remember that you notice us, you value us, and you welcome us. And help us to remember that you notice others, that you value others, and you welcome others. Remind us that we need to do the same. Help us not to hold on to the bitterness, but to learn to love like you do. In your name, amen. Thank you so much for joining us in this series, Lost and Found. It's been so great to be able to learn with you about how Jesus notices us, how Jesus values us, how Jesus welcomes us home, and then today how Jesus invites us to the party. And so we would love to invite you to join with us next Sunday as we celebrate all that Jesus has done with the adult congregation on the adult YouTube page, because we are going to be celebrating Easter in style, and we cannot wait to celebrate with you. So there'll be no youth next week, but we'll be watching the adult service with all the adults. And then in the afternoon, we have even more of a reason to party, because Katie, one of our very own youth, is getting baptized next Sunday, and I'm so excited about it, and I'd love to see all of you there in the afternoon at Wesley Middle School on the back field, so we can celebrate Katie's baptism together. We'll be following all COVID protocols to make sure you're safe and things like that. So do make sure your parents sign you up on Church Street to come and celebrate with Katie her baptism. We would love to see you there. But for now, let's jump across to our Zoom calls, and we'll discuss a little bit more about this idea of how Jesus invites you to the party.
There is one who calls my name. There is one who bears my shame. There is one who leads me out of darkness, just the one name. Jesus, only you. Jesus. You're the one who